Contrary to popular belief, weight loss is not all about diet and exercise. There's actually a good bit more that goes into it. I'm gonna do my best to break it down for you in the simplest way possible. Let's go ahead and get started. One of the huge misconceptions about weight loss, especially as a beginner, is that it's 50% diet, 50% exercise, or 70-30, whatever you're used to hearing. Truth is, I'd say combined, diet and exercise make up maybe 25% of the battle. Another 25% is coming from actually getting good quality sleep. And the other 50% is just following through with your plan. Once you've decided you actually want to commit to weight loss or getting in shape, whatever it is you're interested in, it's not necessarily a required step, but I do think it is very important if you could get inspired. That's what happened for me and just about everyone else I know who's still sticking to the gym, just because it gives you that extra little punch of motivation, whether it be going and seeing someone who's in incredibly good shape and you're just kind of looking in awe, or whether it's you seeing a picture of yourself that's not so flattering. That was the case for me. And with that said, inspiration is amazing, but it's also fleeting. So it's not gonna stick around forever. So use what you have to make a realistic goal. Say you wanna lose 5 pounds by the end of next month. Use your inspiration, use that little bit of motivation you have to push towards that 5-pound goal, and it'll set you up for the future so much better. So now that you have your goal, which is 5 pounds or whatever it is you choose for your goal to be, go ahead and set a plan and action for how you're going to achieve this goal. The little things make the biggest difference. This plan doesn't have to be some kind of masterpiece. Just change little habits. For example, let's say you have a very sugary breakfast for every breakfast. Just change that out for going on a walk or maybe a 1-mile jog. And then as soon as you get back, have a fruit breakfast. So say you have strawberries and maybe a couple eggs or something like that. It's just the little habit, but that alone can help you lose a few pounds in a few weeks by itself. After you have your plan and your goal in place, it's really just making your life easier and just prepare for success. You'll hear a lot of bodybuilders doing what's called meal prep. They'll prep out their meals ahead of time so they know exactly what they're gonna eat. While that might seem boring or whatever the case to you, it's super important because let's say you didn't have your meals prepped. Now you have to go out of your way to do the right choice, which is very, very tough to do in the beginning. If you make the easy choice, it becomes night and day different. If you knew that you were gonna have eggs for breakfast, get it the night before. It's gonna be a lot easier for you to just go there and make it. Same for the clothes. Go ahead and have your running clothes ready or whatever it is. It's just gonna make that healthy habit into a true habit. You're gonna get used to it and you're not even gonna think about it anymore. Next up is building willpower and habits. So how do you actually go about building willpower? By anticipating things like excuses that you're gonna make. For me, one cheat meal isn't gonna hurt that bad. So I'll just purposefully think ahead of time, I'm not going to allow myself to have a cheat meal. Now, this is an extreme example, but you get the idea. Practice saying no to whatever that is for you, whether it be a cheat meal or whether it be I'm too tired or I don't feel like it or I don't have time. All of those are excuses. So if you can go ahead and practice now by saying no, changing whatever that traditional answer is for you, it's going to turn everything into more of a healthy habit so you don't think about it. And once it becomes a habit, night and day, you don't even think about it, it's going to completely change your life over something so minuscule and minute. Now, along the way, one of the most important things I feel like you could do, I regret it so much almost every day, is not tracking my progress. Use pictures to actually weigh yourself once a week. Take a picture of where you're at. Doesn't seem like a big deal to you. You might be like, oh no, I don't really want to, but it changes your entire perspective, because if you actually stick to it for say 2 months and then you look back at day 1, you're looking at yourself in awe instead of looking at this bodybuilder or whatever in complete disbelief. Now you're looking at yourself in that way, and it's so much more motivating because you don't want to stop now. If you do decide to check, please do check once a week. Don't check every day. You're going to fluctuate a bunch from day to day. If you check week by week, it's a lot easier to gauge your progress than day by day. Now, we have gotten to the most important tip of all. If you listen to nothing else I've said this entire video, please remember this one tip, because it is honestly the only true thing you need to lose weight. Understanding your calories and your macros. To lose fat, you need to eat less calories than you burn. You burn calories whether you realize it or not. You can use an online calorie calculator that typically gives you like a good gauge, at least, for what your maintenance calories are. Maybe it'll give you tips on how much you should be at to lose weight. Definitely keep track of what you eat. You know, if you need to, adjust it a little bit here and there if you're not getting the results you want. That's the easiest way to gauge if you're in a calorie deficit or not. But without a shadow of a doubt, above all else, make sure you are watching your calories, because that is truly the one thing you need to lose weight. An example of this is, say you're burning 2,000 calories a day. Try eating 1,700 calories. If you're still not losing weight after, say, a week of trying that out, then maybe try lowering in another 300 calories and just kind of slowly but surely decrease until eventually you're seeing weight drop. Don't do anything drastic. Don't go from 2,000 calories to 1,200 calories. It's going to be really rough. So the slower you can do it, the better, because it's not going to be as noticeable. And once again, it's going to be kind of like a habit change. You don't really think about it. The next one is just making smart food choices. Focus on foods that are minimally processed. For example, like lean meats, fruits, a lot of vegetables, like basically everything that's fairly clean. These foods for you are normally going to be very filling. They're going to be nutritious. They're just going to be overall good for you, and it's going to keep you very full without taking in a bunch of calories. As soon as you pick up 2 Oreos, that's 100 something calories, whereas you could have 2 whole tenderloins of chicken breast, and that's probably the same amount of calories. It's crazy how much different calories are if you just change your foods up a little bit. Following this whole dieting, eating thing, snacking is very bad, because a lot of people snack when they're bored, stressed, or whatever the case. Basically, when they're not really hungry, they just want to eat. Basically, if you can cut out snacking, that'd help you a bunch. But if you're like me and you just can't, it's not possible for you, switch it into like fruits and things like that. It'll lower your calorie count, so you're not taking in 500 calories for the sake of snacking. Plus, you'll still get your snacking in nonetheless. So definitely, if you can, avoid it. But if you need to, just switch once again to healthier habits. On to another really vital tip, probably the easiest tip for you if you're starting out, is avoiding liquid calories. When I was at my heaviest, which was like 210 pounds, I think, I drank probably 6 or 7 sodas a day. Some of you may be like, oh, that's not all that big a deal, like the little canned sodas. That was probably 1,000 to 1,500 calories a day just in drinks. That's my whole calorie count that I'm allowed, pretty much. If you can avoid liquid calories, you're gonna save yourself so much weight in the long run. If you can stick to water, that's the best. Of course, you can have teas, not sweet tea, but you know what I mean, healthy teas. Black coffee's also an option for you. If you need that sweet taste, feel free to have diet drinks in moderation. I personally drink a lot of diet drinks. I can't help it. They aren't the healthiest for you, but in my mind, they're healthier than a traditional soda with all the calories and sugars and everything. So if you need the sweetness, go to something like that. Obviously, water and stuff like that's going to be the best for you, though. To add in that extra little bit of flair, another little tip is just making small, sustainable changes. So going from these gigantic plates you're probably used to just a generally smaller plate. Because I know for me, especially late at night when I'm really trying to get my calories in or whatever plate I pick up, I pretty much fill up that plate, whether it be the small one, the big one, the half-sized one, whatever the case. So if you just go to a smaller plate, it's actually going to trick your brain a lot more than you think it will, and you're going to feel full with a lot less food. You know, obviously, if you slip up from here and there, don't think that's a good enough reason to use it as an excuse to binge. Just fix it in the future. You know, make the little change like I was saying. It's going to help you light years ahead of time. Now, I've been neglecting a very important part, which is exercise. Make sure that you do exercise regularly. It's going to help you burn more calories, muscle. Building muscle is also going to kind of boost your metabolism. You're going to burn more calories from doing nothing the more muscle you have. Whether it's lifting weights, going for a walk, maybe going for a jog, or just doing cardio, anything helps. All of it's considered exercise. Just doing daily tasks, like walking up the stairs, going grocery shopping with your legs, not on your phone or whatever, even carrying groceries, little stuff like that can actually help. It all adds up. For example, a really easy cheat code is trying to get your 10,000 steps in a day. That was what I started with when I first started anything in the gym, fitness, health, all of it was 10,000 steps a day was my rule, because it doesn't take all that long and it is an actual cheat code for burning extra calories. So I briefly talked about it earlier, but sleep, I said that's 25%. How can sleep be 25% of losing weight? That doesn't even make sense. Well, actually it does, because really good sleep helps regulate your hormones, and it's really crucial for weight loss. So if you can get 7 to 9 hours of really good sleep, it's going to help you a bunch on your track of weight loss. And finally, to kind of go full circle, the most important part, especially for beginners, 50% of the battle is staying consistent. Building new habits is going to take you time. It's not done overnight. It's a reason it's a habit. It's because you're used to doing it every single day. The more you do it, I promise, the easier it gets. And before you know it, you will be eating healthy, exercising, and talking in a whole new mindset like it's completely second nature. That's it. Now, I know I gave a bunch of tips, and if you follow them, you will be on your way to losing a bunch of weight and keeping it off for good. That's the important part, is you will be keeping it off for good. You'll be making a bunch of lifestyle changes and everything else. I gave a bunch of tips. I gave a bunch of advice. Remember, it's not really about the perfection and keeping everything exactly as it should be from what I said. It's more so about making choices that are good for you more often than not. It's the little things that make the big difference in the long run. Anyway, that's really all I have. So good luck.